Positive Anime Reviews is a review show that is designed for people who aren't very picky about their anime, like me. Most anime I watch ends up in my 5 out of 5 category. My reviews are for those people who are looking for a reason to enjoy anime rather than hate on it. I am willing to give any and all anime a chance before stating my opinion. Lastly, my reviews are all my opinion and might and or most likely won't match yours. If you don't agree, that's totally fine, just be respectful in the comment section, thank you. And as always, there is sometimes a spoiler section, but fear not, I will warn you first. Hey guys, Darth Gork here, back with another positive anime review. Today we will be talking about Sweet Blue Flowers. So, of course the Japanese name will be in the description. I believe it's called Aoi Hana, I believe. And, anyway, regardless of how exactly it's pronounced and my inability to pronounce it properly, it'll be in the description if I remember. Anyway, so Sweet Blue Flowers. So anyway, I suppose it's obvious that our Yuri marathon continues. Our Shoujo Ai / Yuri marathon continues because this is like the third or fourth anime in a row. Anyway, hey, just keep it alive. Anyway, so yeah, welcome back. So I've seen this anime several times. This is one of the ones that I own physically. And I actually just bought the manga, and I'm going to be honest, I'm really excited. I've read the manga once before, but it was a long time ago, and at the time I did not own it, and now I own it, and I am very excited to actually read it. Anyway, but regardless, it's a good one. It is a golden one. So let me just go back to my notes here. So, when did this anime air? This is another slightly older one. This is not as old as I believe the last few, or that we've watched recently. I think the last several, or in and out, but I think there was lots of 2006 kind of deal, kind of range anime in there, but this one is a little bit newer. This is from the July to September, the summer 2009. So it's a few years later, but still a little bit old. Now, I don't know if there is a dub for this one. Just like with most anime, I did not look, and if there is one, I did not watch it. So I could not tell you if it's good or not. Now, as far as is this an adaptation from a manga? Obviously, this one I know it is an adaptation from a manga. Because like I said, I just bought the manga, and I'm so very excited to actually read it. Anyway, and so yeah, there is obviously a manga for this one. So we're gonna go ahead and hop right into our synopsis here. It'll be the much quicker way of summarizing this whole spiel. All right. Shy and soft-spoken Fumi Manjome and upfront and caring Akira Okudaira were best friends in elementary school, but this changed when Fumi and her family moved away. Years later, Fumi moves back to her hometown after being accepted at Matsuoka, that's a hard word to pronounce, girls' high school. She finally reunites with Akira, who is going to attend Fujigatani Girls Academy. Despite their reunion, their relationship isn't the same as it was years ago. As soon as Fumi starts attending school, popular senior Yasuko Tsukimoto takes notice of her and flatters her more than any other underclassman. After running to Akira for help so many times before, Fumi must figure out who she is as a person instead of standing in someone else's shadow. However, that doesn't stop Akira from wanting her friendship with Fumi to be as it once was. Will the girls be able to conquer the high school stage of growing up before it pulls them apart? So there you go. Don't know why I had so much trouble getting through very basic sentences there, but, it's still early for me, and I haven't been awake very long, and, it's a non-med day. I don't know what you expect. Anyway, so yeah, obviously it is another Shoujo Ai, and, drama, but, it's not, other anime I've seen recently, the drama was much worse. So even though it is a little bit drama, it's not the worst offender. So normally I end up skipping this section, but for similar anime, this one reminds me of, oh man, what's the name of that other one? I think I know the name here, but I'm gonna look it up before I say that in case I'm thinking of a different anime. Oh no, yeah, that's it. So this actually reminds me of the anime Whispered Words, or Sasameki Kodo, I believe is how you pronounce that. If you guys know that anime, this 100% reminds me of that. And what's funny is I always get the two. I mean, for a long time I got the two confused. But this absolutely reminds me of that one because apparently they're actually from the same year. They're actually the Sasameki Kodo is from 2009 fall, and so they're both from the same year. Their art styles are a little bit similar. I don't know, like there's I don't know, there's something about it. So, and I've already reviewed that other one. So anyway, but for a long time I got them confused. Now that I've watched this one more recently, and I own the manga and things like that, I'm willing to bet that I will not get them confused going forward. But for a long time I got the two confused because they reminded me so much of the other one. Anyway, but as far as genre goes, no surprise there. This is, of course, Shoujo Ai, Yuri, romance, slice of life, and all that stuff. Now, so an important thing to know in this one, and I think one of the reasons why it's so good to me, is a lot of anime that you watch will have some element of comic relief or comedy or whatever. Now, this anime does have that, but it's not presented in like this over the top, like wacky art style for like the comedic scene kind of thing. This one is always based in reality. Like this one is realistic. So even if there is lighthearted moments, it's not like an over the top we're watching it's definitely a TV show kind of way. You know what I mean? It's not cartoony in its lighthearted moments. Like even if there is lighthearted moments and happy moments, it's always presented realistically. And I think that's one of the reasons why I love it so much, because a lot of the time the comedy stuff for me and lots of anime, I endure it, I get through it. Maybe it makes me smile a little bit, but mostly I am there for the serious moments, the romance and the feels and everything else. And so this one is so good because it's always serious. I mean, it's always presented realistically. Even if it is a lighthearted moment, heavy moment, romance moment, whatever, it's realistic. And I love that about this anime. It's very, very good for that, which of course makes it perfect for me. Now, as far as moving on to season length, now this one is a little bit shorter. This is only 11 episodes. And so this one is a tad shorter than the other ones, but the actual episode length is very normal at about 22 minutes per episode. I don't recall there ever being anything after the closing song. I believe it was just like next time on whatever, you know what I mean? I believe it was just a preview of the next episode, I believe. So I don't recall there being anything afterwards, but as always, I do encourage you to check me. Yeah, I do encourage you to check me. And if memory serves, that even applies for the finale. I almost think there was nothing at the finale either. I almost think that the closing song wasn't normal for the finale anyway, like it's so common. I think a lot of the closing, I think even the closing song, I believe was like played softly while they were still showing stuff. So, but regardless, I do of course encourage you to check me. So moving on to our character list. So the characters in this one are fantastic. There is quite a few supporting characters in this one. Yeah, there is quite a few supporting characters in this one, but there's not an incredible amount of main characters. Not an incredible amount. I'm just opening a couple of these, being like, who? Oh, weird. How it orders some of these characters in a little bit of a weird way, which is interesting. Okay, so there is quite a few supporting characters. None of the supporting characters are overly important. I mean, it lists 4 main characters, and I would pretty much agree. I would pretty much agree with that. So yeah, I would say let's just get to it. So moving on to our very first main character, we have I would say, one of the 2 real main stars of the show. We of course have Fumi. So Fumi is the girl in glasses, the dark-haired girl in glasses. She is awesome. So Fumi is very, very shy. She's very shy, very quiet. I mean, especially initially. And a lot of this anime, it kind of revolves around her journey of like learning to be more confident and like learning, I don't know. I mean, because Fumi has several romance things brewing. Keeping it all spoiler free, of course. There's one in the beginning that she's actively getting over. She's like freshly coming off of a romance that didn't go well. Didn't end well. Let me rephrase. It didn't end well. And then so she's coming off of that right away, and so she's really broken up about that. And then she meets Yasuko, who everyone just calls Tsukimoto. So I was surprised to learn her first name was Yasuko because everyone just calls her Tsukimoto. Anyway, And so then she meets her, and then of course she reunites with Akira after so many years, and then it shows flashbacks of when they were kids and how close they were, and that was awesome. And I don't know. So it's like, I mean, but a lot of the journey is Fumi figuring out, how to how to kind of stand up on her own, and learning how to, like, chase a love that's actually going to work out. And like, I don't know, it's like a lot of it, it's really cool. It's really cool because a lot of it, I mean, like I said in the beginning, she starts off very, very broken up, and then it shows a lot of her flashbacks that she's always been a little bit of a cry. She's kind of quick to cry, and so which is, I mean, to some degree fairly relatable. Anyway, and so it's always been kind of rough, right? Her feelings are always really near the surface. So, and so a lot of the anime follows her journey on learning how to, learning how to be tougher, and learning how to, like, have better control of herself, and watching her grow up and mature. And it's so good. It's very, very good. And that's what a lot of the anime follows her journey and she's very different from how she starts it versus how she ends the anime. And she has several moments throughout that are just so cool. You're just so proud of her. You're just like, I'm so proud of you. Like, that was so brave. That was so hard. I'm so proud. Like, it's so good. It's so good. And, but otherwise though, Fumi is a very, very caring person. Once she has, like I said, she's very quiet and shy. I mean, she's very much more so. But after she does get to know you, although she is just a little bit quiet anyway, and that's just her personality. She does really care about her friends and her circle, and she really cares about Akira, and she really cares about, I mean, obviously she has very few, like, super deep connections, very, very few. For a long time, it's Tsukimoto until plot happens. But otherwise she's nice. She's like nice and polite, and she does have like a few, a little circle of people that are friends with her. But she has very few deep connections, and definitely Akira is maybe her only, if not one of her only deep connections, I would say. And so, which is obviously great for me, because we'll talk about my ship in a second, but it's probably already fairly obvious. Anyway, and so, yeah, and so otherwise, Fumi is just such a cool character. She's such a cool character. She's very, she's very quiet and very reserved, but a lot of that is very relatable to me. And like, I don't know, I just love her. I love her. She's like, just her whole character, and like her, just things from her personality traits and things she goes through, and I just love her. She's fantastic. Anyway, and so that's pretty much Fumi in a nutshell. I adore her. So moving on to our next I would say, alpha main character, we have Akira. So Akira, like I said, is Fumi's childhood friend, and they were separated because Fumi moved, but then when she came back, they were reunited. So Akira is what is that, like orange? Blonde? No, it's not blonde, because Kyoko's super blonde. So it's not the super blonde character, I think that's like orange or brown, whatever color that is. That's Akira. So she is the childhood friend. She's one of the two wearing the white uniform. Assuming I found a picture of her wearing her actual school uniform. If she's wearing a white uniform with like white and blue, and she's not the super blonde one, that's her. Anyway, and odds are I'll label it on screen anyway, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, so Akira is very different from Fumi. So when they were kids, Akira is much more assertive, and she has much more, I don't know, she's much better about putting her foot down, and she's like, she has lots of energy, and she's much tougher, and that's a lot of her personality. Now, that's not to say that she's like not friendly, or it's not to say that she's mean, because she's not. She's very friendly and very kind, and she cares a lot about her circle and her friends. And no one who met her would be like, oh man, she sucks. So it's like, no one's gonna say that. But of the two of them, of the pair, she's definitely the one that has the oomph. She has the authority. She's assertive. She's authoritative, and she has that, more tough personality. And so it's interesting because when they were kids, Akira always took care of Fumi. And it was interesting. Their dynamic as kids was awesome. It was so adorable. They have several flashbacks throughout the anime, and I loved the flashback sequences because I just loved Fumi and Akira, their childhood relationship, and I mean their relationship in general is just amazing. But and so it's interesting. But then you fast forward to modern times, and when they were young, Akira was taller, and Akira looked older, and just all this stuff. But then modern times, Fumi is like inches taller than Akira. And so she's much taller, but personality, nothing has changed. I mean, for quite a lot of it. I mean, in a lot of ways that there is some differences and there is some changes, but Akira is still the assertive one with the energy and the, like, just say it like it is kind of person, and Fumi is still much more reserved, but she's not quite as maybe not quite as delicate as she was as a kid. But it's interesting. So, Akira super cares about Fumi. Now, much like Fumi, she has quite a few friends. I mean, she has a fairly large circle-ish of friends, but none of them feel super, super deep. I mean, unlike Fumi, though, with Fumi, I would say her only deepest connection is Akira, other than plot point stuff with Tsukimoto. But even that, I mean, they never felt super close to me. Even though technically they were dating. It felt very surface level. It always felt very surface level to me. But so her only real deep connection is Akira. But with Akira, though, I feel like she has a pretty solid friendship with Kyoko, who is the last main character we'll talk about. She has a friendship with her, but I feel like that. But even in that case, like, even though she has one other really good friend, I just feel like that Fumi and Akira have this extra special connection, that, like, this extra special deep connection that pretty much no one else has. I mean, not even Akira with Kyoko. I mean, I feel like that she has only that one special thing with Fumi, pretty much. But otherwise, Akira's great. Otherwise, I mean, cares about her friends. Really nice to her circle. I mean, she's like always there for Fumi. And Fumi, whenever Fumi's going through something, she's always bouncing off ideas off of Akira or telling her about things that happened. And I mean, Akira just super cares, and she's fantastic. And their relationship is amazing, and I love it. But moving on to our next main character, our third of four, we have Tsukimoto. So it's Yasuko Tsukimoto, but everyone just calls her Tsukimoto, and I don't think I remember almost anyone calling her Yasuko. So I guess we'll just call her Tsukimoto. Anyway, and so she is the shorter, darker-haired girl. She's not short, but her hair is short, and she's wearing the darker uniform, just like Fumi. And so she's our other. She's interesting. So she is dating for a long time, Fumi. And I don't know. I mean, she's kind of, how to describe this? I don't like her. I don't like her very much, because a lot of the time so Tsukimoto is very popular. She's very, very popular. She very much has that prince-esque aura, where, like, a lot of girls have a crush on Tsukimoto. Lots of girls do, because she's very cool, and she's very, suave feeling, and all this other stuff. But the thing that's this underlying current throughout the whole anime is that everyone has, like, crushes and feelings for somebody else, and it's this giant web of feels going on. And Tsukimoto has feelings for somebody else. That's plot stuff you'll see when you watch it. But she has feelings for somebody else, and Kyoko, one of our next main characters, has feelings for Tsukimoto, and it's a big plot point for her and everything else. Tsukimoto kind of treats Kyoko like dirt. She kind of treats Kyoko like shit, and I don't like that. And I don't know. She's just, her and Fumi are dating for a long time, but it never felt super close to me. Like, and I feel like that, especially as things develop in the anime, I feel like Fumi realizes it too, that she's like, I don't feel very close to her, even though we're actually dating. You know what I mean? Like, and I think it does come up and does come around, but Tsukimoto, I don't know. I feel like that she doesn't, for a long time, I feel like she doesn't really know what she wants, and I feel like that she's, again, keeping it spoiler free, but I feel like she's running away from from different problems she's facing and different things that she's tackling. And I feel like that she's just sort of burying her head and keeping herself distracted and not dealing with the things that are actually troubling her. And I feel like that, so she's bouncing around between different girls, and she's dating, and she's just trying to throw herself at anything to keep herself distracted from dealing with her actual problems. And so, unfortunately, Fumi gets caught in that, and lots of other people do, too. And Kyoko gets treated like garbage by Tsukimoto, and I don't know. I mean, she's very athletic, she's very good at lots of things, and she's in a play, and she's very good at that. And, I mean, she's good at a lot of things, but, like, once you, like, get her personality a little more, I didn't find her super likable. Like, once you got to know her, I feel like you're like, it kept hitting me, be like, see, all of this is a distraction. You're just running away. Like, you're not dealing with it. You're not coping. You're not healing. You're not learning. You're not trying to improve yourself. You're just running. And I was like, this is not productive. And so it's like, I just felt bad for everyone caught in the way. But I don't know. So Sugimoto is a weird character. I don't super like her. And she is sort of she is dating Fumi, but that things happen. You'll see. And I don't know. I mean, I didn't super like her. I don't know what else to say super much, but I don't know. She's kind of weird. I don't super like her, so we'll move on. I can't think of anything else to say about her. So moving on to our last main character, we have Kyoko Ikumi. So Kyoko is the blonde, the actual true blonde, of the four main characters. The one, so she should be fairly recognizable, assuming I can even find pictures of her. So Kyoko is a friend of Akira's. She goes to her school. She has a crush on Sugimoto, and she unfortunately chases after her, much to her own pain, because it just never goes well for her. I always feel sorry for her. Just Sugimoto treats her like crap, and it's just terrible. Anyway, but Kyoko's an interesting character because she is a little bit more on the quieter side, and she does, you know. I mean, she's a little more quiet. She's not like quiet like Fumi feels shy. She is quiet, but I feel like it's because she's really shy. Kyoko feels a little quiet, but not so much because she's just shy. It's just because maybe she's just a quiet person. But it doesn't feel like that. She's not like she's hiding because she's afraid to speak or anything. Kyoko just feels quiet because that's just her way, but not like in a shy, I'm too scared to speak kind of way, you know? I don't know. So I mean, slight distinction there, but she does have a crush on Sugimoto. She's friends with Akira. Her and Akira do seem like good friends, but it's not nearly to the same degree as it is with Fumi. Not by a long shot, I would say. And it's interesting because Kyoko and Fumi have kind of a weird connection thing because they sort of bond over plot stuff that happens. I mean, you guys will see, but they have this kind of interesting little bonding moment. I mean, several moments over things that it's interesting how some commonalities that they have between the two of them, which is interesting. But otherwise, I don't know. I mean, Kyoko was an interesting character, but a lot of her plot points is just trying to chase Sugimoto. Like, I mean, it's a lot of her plot points, and otherwise, I can't think of off the top of my head anything else to say too much else about her because she was always just chasing after Sugimoto. Sugimoto treats her like garbage, and then her and Fumi kind of bond over things that happen, and she's friends with Akira, and when she's not chasing after Sugimoto and getting stepped on, then she is nice, and she's a likable character. But otherwise, I don't feel like she was incredibly complicated. Otherwise, like, you know, maybe that's just my point of view, but she didn't feel incredibly complicated to me. So I can't think of too much else to say about her. But otherwise, there is a slew of supporting characters, but no one else that's super life-changingly important. Kyoko is like sort of low-key engaged to some dude named Ko, I think. I mean, they sort of engage, but it doesn't like mean anything because she's not interested in him at all. Like, and so it's kind of weird. And so I don't know. So like, she's like sort of engaged to somebody, but mostly not. And I mean, otherwise, there's kind of this slew of other characters and things kicking around. But everyone else is very much a supporting character, so I wouldn't super worry about them. They all get introduced in time, but otherwise, that's nothing incredibly complicated there. Now, moving on to my favorite / most hated characters. So my favorites are so obvious, but it's Fumi and Akira. I love Fumi and Akira. I ship them to death. Their relationship is super cute. I just love them to death. I loved Fumi too. Fumi for me felt especially relatable in a lot of the ways that she acted, and in a lot of ways that she felt very relatable to me. But I ship them to death. I love them together. They are so cute. And as far as most hated, again, obvious, I really didn't like Sugimoto. I thought she treated people like garbage. She treats Kyoko like garbage. And then later on, she kind of has these moments with Fumi, but which Fumi lays down the law, which is awesome, by the way. I love that moment. Anyway, but Sugimoto, she's just, I don't know, she feels very much like she's just distracting herself from dealing with her actual problems, and so it feels like she's just running away from things that she should be dealing with, and because of it, people get hurt, people get caught in the crossfire, and it's a little bit not awesome. So I just really didn't like her. I didn't like her. I feel like she's just made many things more complicated. Now, moving on to animation and music. So this anime is very, very pretty to look at. It's very pretty. It's very, like, I don't know, like classy, like, I don't know, like, but the art style is super, super pretty, and a lot of the moments are really pretty, and the music, there was several times where the music actually hit, where it was just like, I don't know, it just really, really had great atmosphere. Like, this anime's whole atmosphere is just awesome, and I loved it to death. And the music, there was several times where the music hit, and I was like, oh, this is such a great moment, like, this is so cool, you know? And there was lots of moments like that where it was just awesome. It was fantastic, and I loved every second of it. So, and so yeah, the animation was so pretty. This anime is very very pretty to look at. And again, it kind of has that classy feel more than anything else, which is really really cool. But otherwise, I think that's pretty much everything. So moving on to final rating and recommendation, I'm going to give this one a 6 out of 5. One of my favorites. This anime is one of my favorites, and I love it. So it's interesting because previously this anime was always given a 5 out of 5. But with this last rewatch that I did, I was like, you know what? Like, this is better than a 5 out of 5. Like, this is not like in the line with the rest of them. Like, this last time I watched it, I just got absorbed in it. Like, the couple times, I always really liked it, but like, I don't know. Like, this time I felt like I absorbed a lot more than I did previously, and I just really really loved it this last time. And so. And so yeah, this last time I watched it, I was like, actually, this is like definite 6 out of 5 material. This is so stinking good. And so yeah, I bumped up the score this last time, and I highly recommend it. If you're a Shoujo Ai / Yuri fan, boy or girl like myself, then yeah, then you're gonna. I think you'll probably really love this. Really love this anime. Highly recommend it. Now, I will keep it spoiler free. But I won't tell you what happens, but the ending is positive, and there's no doubt in your head what's going to happen, but it's not definitive closure. Not definitively. Not like a happily ever after, the end kind of thing. But there's no doubt in your head. It's very positive, and there's no doubt what's going to happen. And again, all spoiler free still. But if memory serves, the manga actually gives that definitive happily ever after ending. So if you are after, like, so I do recommend watching it and enjoying it. But if that kind of thing where it's positive, but it's not definitive. It's not this person ended up with this person and it's just great. If that kind of thing bothers you, which for the stuff I really care about, I would prefer a definitive ending, definitive closure. If you're that person too, I do recommend reading the manga. I have read it before. If memory serves, it does give you that definitive happily ever after closure that you want. And so I would say reading the manga and or owning the manga in conjunction with watching the anime is a good time, because of course it's fun to be able to see and hear what your characters look and sound like. Oh, by the way, love Fumi's voice. Love it. Anyway, But then I recommend reading the manga. I'm currently reading another series that it's not a manga, but I'm reading another series that's very long. But when I'm done with it, I'm gonna read the manga, because now that I've watched the anime, I'm like, I really want that definitive ending. I want that definitive closure. So I'm gonna read that as soon as I'm done with the series that I'm currently reading. But yeah, so if you're looking for definitive ending, read the manga. Either before or after you watch the anime. You watch the anime, but I do recommend you read it. That is what I plan to do. And because I do want that definitive ending. So I thought I would warn you. I still kept all that spoiler free. But I did want to warn you about that just in case, because for some people I know that does bother them. Depending on how it feels, most of the time it doesn't bother me. Every once in a while it will come back and I'll be like, oh man, what the hell? But most of the time I'm okay with it. But that's why I'm going to read the manga as soon as I'm done with my book series. So that's why I'm flying through my book series, because I'm trying to finish it so I can read the manga. Because I'm really excited. I really want that definitive ending, man. Anyway, so yeah, and that's pretty much it. That is Sweet Blue Flowers. It was such a masterpiece. I enjoyed the hell out of it. It was so good. So yeah, I've actually already moved on to my next anime. It is one I've actually already reviewed, so there will not be a review coming out, so I don't know when my next review will be coming, because I am rewatching one I've already reviewed. So I'll watch that whenever I'm done with it, then I'll move on. I might move on to something else I've already watched. I might watch something new. I don't know what I'm doing after that, and so I don't know when the next review is coming. But time will tell. Thank you very much on the response for my last review. My last review was for Kashimashi Girl Meets Girl, and the view count was incredible. Was it very very quickly. My par reviews almost always do very very well, and a lot of my gaming stuff, if given enough time, does really well too. But that one, considering how not long it's been up on the channel, got a lot of views for my channel. So thank you very much for that. means a lot. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. And yeah, so after I finish watching the anime I'm currently on, I'll move on to something else, whatever that is, and then we'll I'll see you when I see you for that. Anyway, so yeah, and I think that's pretty much everything. I don't know when this is going out, so I'm not going to bother talking about uploads or anything. So that is going to call for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the content today, and we will talk to you guys later.